The situation in the Belgorod border area is difficult for the Russian army. Very intensive military actions are underway. This was reported by the Z Resource, Northern Channel, associated with the Russian Armed Forces. The Ukrainian Armed Forces have been in the border village of Demidovka for several days now, consolidating their positions. Russian troops can do nothing about it. The situation is complicated. Ukrainian forces are trying to gain a foothold in Demidovka and Prilesye, destroyed the bridge near Grafovka, are building up their forces and preparing new attacks. The initiative is in the hands of the enemy, the Russian Z channel wrote. He added that the Ukrainian military is testing the Russian defense, preparing for new attacks. The equipment is minimal, but a large number of infantry are working. Meanwhile, in the Kursk region, the Russian offensive has stopped, having run into the Ukrainian line of defense. The Russian armed forces have been unable to break through to Grafovka in the Sumy region to cut off the Kursk bridgehead. The enemy continues to hold positions in Gwevo, Gonal and Oleshnya, and in the Sumy region there are fierce battles for Grafovka. The Ukrainian armed forces are actively using kamikaze drones, Severny Canal reported. Recall, days after it withdrew from most of Russia's Kursk region, Ukraine launched a cross-border incursion into neighboring Belgorod Oblast. The operation appears to be much more limited in scale and objectives than Kyiv's August 2024 Kursk offensive. The operation commenced on the morning of March the 18th. Ukrainian forces conducted multiple waves of attacks toward the villages of Demidovka, Priles'e, and possibly Grafovka, located near the juncture between Ukraine's Sumy region and Russia's Belgorod and Kursk regions. The Ukrainians appear to have advanced in small columns variously composed of infantry fighting vehicles, tanks, and ATVs. Wisent-1 MC, IMR-2 and UR-77 obstacle-clearing vehicles carved a path through Dragon's Teeth obstacles and minefields near the border. Ukraine claimed to have conducted an airstrike on a Russian command post of a 3rd Motor Rifle Division unit near Demidovka the day the incursion began. The attacking forces were likely also supported by artillery and first-person view strike drone units. Whether the Belgorod incursion is intended as a brief raid or a long-term operation is unclear. Ollie Carroll of The Economist reported that Kyiv had been planning the operation for 3 weeks and aims to establish a buffer zone, suggesting an intention for a sustained presence. President Volodymyr Zelensky similarly characterized the operation as a defensive measure to prevent a potential Russian offensive in Sumy Oblast. LWJ has observed no evidence that a Russian offensive across the Belgorod-Sumy border was imminent.
Satellite images released on Friday purported to show the aftermath of a Ukrainian drone strike on a Russian airbase in the Saratov region. According to Associated Press, more than 50 drones were intercepted in the region, the largest attack of its kind in the area, shattering windows in a hospital and damaging 2 kindergartens, a school and about 30 homes, Governor Roman Busargin said. The attacks were focused on Engels, an industrial city near Russia's main base for nuclear-capable strategic bombers. Meanwhile, 3 people were killed and 12 wounded in a Russian drone attack on the Ukrainian city of Zaporizhzhia, Ukrainian officials said Saturday, in an attack that underlined Moscow's intention to continue aerial strikes despite agreeing to a limited ceasefire. The Ukrainian Air Force reported that Russia fired 179 exploding drones and decoys in the latest wave of attacks overnight into Saturday. It said 100 were intercepted and another 63 lost, likely having been electronically jammed. Officials in the Kyiv and Dnipropetrovsk regions also reported fires breaking out due to the falling debris from intercepted drones. Ukraine and Russia agreed in principle Wednesday to a limited ceasefire after U.S. President Donald Trump spoke with the country's leaders, though it remains to be seen what possible targets would be off-limits to attack.
Ukrainian Military Intelligence Agency, also known as HUR, says it has launched a large-scale attack on Russian radar detection and air defense systems in occupied Crimea in recent days and destroyed a number of Russian military equipment. On the 18th of March, during a phone conversation, Russian President Vladimir Putin supported US President Donald Trump's proposal for a mutual 30-day suspension of strikes on energy infrastructure. However, no agreement was reached on the pause in fighting on the Ukrainian front lines and Russia's Kursk Oblast, as proposed by Ukraine. Later that day, Russia launched 150 drones on Ukraine, on energy objects and several hospitals. The attack involved kamikaze drones, likely fixed-wing types, equipped with optical cameras for greater accuracy, allowing for strikes on both stationary and moving targets. HUR has reported that the strike destroyed several key assets, including radar stations and air defense systems, among them 3 Pantsir S-1 surface-to-air missile and gun systems and an Mi-8 helicopter. Specifically, the operation neutralized 2 48YA6-K1 Podlet long-range air surveillance radars, 2 1L125 Nyobi SV electronic warfare detection radars, 3 39N6 Castor 2E2 targeting tracking radars, a 9S19 Imbir fire control radar for S-300 air defense systems. The Nebo-M F9N6-E Protivnik GE and MYS radars. Additionally, the strike targeted a launcher from the S-300V air defense system and command posts connected to the ST-68 and Castor 2E2 radars. The operation also hit a Project C-4236 tugboat and the multi-purpose tug Fedor Urupin. According to Ukrainian intelligence, these strikes were conducted over several days, causing significant financial losses for Russia due to the high cost of the destroyed equipment, while also degrading its airspace monitoring capabilities over Crimea. Aviation expert Valery Romanenko commented on the HUR's operation and told Radio NV that it has achieved unique results. The main radars that provided airspace coverage over Crimea, Kherson Oblast and Krasnodar Krai have been disabled. These radars were responsible for detecting low-flying targets, our drones and cruise missiles. With so many radars taken out, Crimea's air defense has effectively collapsed. If we follow up with another strike, we could target anything that moves, airfields, transport infrastructure, headquarters, anything we have ammunition for, Romanenko said. He added that drones were likely used in the operation.